Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today I'm going to show you guys how to structure your beats more simply. I think we overthink as producers. We think there's a secret formula, but I'm going to break it down into really simple points. It's about energy flow and it's about variation. It's about dynamic. Okay, so what it comes down to is understanding how to remove stuff. A lot of us, if you don't have enough stuff to remove, your beat will always feel like you're losing too much energy. So let's play a beat for an example, just to show you the main sections that we have. So here we have the beginning section. We'll just call these letters section A. So section A has everything needed for the record to feel like it's going forward as a record. Some people might call this a verse. We're just going to call it section A right now. So it's just, the bass line, the drums, the main melody, and the background supportive elements. So a beat comes in 4 layers. You have the top line, which is your melody. Okay. It comes with harmony, which is your chord structure, your glue in the middle. Then you have what's called a contrast layer. The contrast layer does the opposite of your top line. Okay. It can be a bass line. It can be a counter melody. Then you have the rhythm section. So as long as these 4 things are happening in your beat will feel like it's flowing forward. If you remove one of those things, it will feel like you're losing energy. So as long as you have stuff in those categories, you can mix and match where you want to stack up stuff. Now, the next section will have usually all of the instruments. We'll just call this section B. Now, the difference here is the vibraphone for this track. Now this is a type of track that doesn't have a hook. So your typical intro hook, verse 1, hook 2, verse 2, hook, or, hook again, and then change up and then outro, hook twice and then outro. That doesn't really apply to this because there's no hook. So this is why you guys have to understand music production as components rather than like this, do this, and this every single time, because that's not really how every beat is made. Okay, so this one has a different element here, which is the vibraphone, which adds that Griselda type vibe. So this is section B. Okay, so what separates section A from section B is not the rhythm, it's not the bass layer, it's not the harmony, it's the top line element. Okay, so see how I'm swapping out stuff to make it feel different? We have those 4 elements: top line, harmony. In this case, the harmony is more so the pianos in the background. These here. So the harmony stays consistent, the contrast layer is there, the rhythm's there, the drums are there. What changes? The top line changes, the vibraphone. So it's not that we need to make this dramatic, like 1,000 more instruments. Sometimes it's just a small change. Okay. In section C here, we drop out on the contrast layer. So now we have less energy in our track. And this is where we usually call like the B section. But don't worry about the letters. It just means we have something that is contrasting from the main stuff happening. And the main thing that makes this feel like it's contrasting is that the bass line is not there anymore. So now it's more open. Okay, so we have the same things. Rhythm, we have the harmony section. We have the top line. The only thing missing out that equation is the contrast layer. So see how these 4 elements make songwriting way more simple, because now you're not focused on 50 different things. You're focused on 4 things: top line, which is your melodic stuff, your harmony, which is like your chords and your, the middle stuff. Then you have the contrast layer. This can be your bass line or it could be a counter melody. Then you have your rhythm section. So if you take any one of those away, you lose the energy of the track. As we feel here, we lost the energy, but it's because we're trying to create a track breakdown section. So we have section A. Then we have section B, which focuses on a different sound for the top line. Then we have section C, which removes the contrast layer. So now we have less energy in the entire track. Now for the other change ups that I created for this type of beat, was I removed the rhythm section. So now we're going to remove the drums and the harmony. So we removed the rhythm and the harmony. So now we're left with the contrast layer and just the top line. So this is our lowest energy but most musical part of this entire beat. And then we're going to run back into the harmony and the rhythm. So that's songwriting. And if you look at the greater scheme, we have part A, part B, part C, part D, and D2. So those are 4 sections that I'm using. So again, you could either remove stuff from those 4 layers, the top line, the harmony section, the contrast layer, or the rhythm section, or you could just change the thing in that category. So in the beginning, we changed the thing, that was the top line. Okay, so all I'm doing here for part B is changing the top line element. We're not removing anything of those 4 categories. And now the third category, I was like, let me remove the contrast layer. So we're starting to take away some of those components. On the 4th section, I'll call it like D1 and D2. We're removing the rhythm and the harmony section. Okay, so allowing the top line and the contrast layer to carry the energy for this specific track. Because harmony's job is really to glue the in-between stuff. Okay, and rhythm's job is to create a timing perspective. Okay, so as we take those away, we lose track of time and we lose track of the middle of the track, which gives it a lot more expression when it comes to melody. And then you have the D2, I'll call it, section, which is where we have all of the elements here, which is really part A. Okay, so really there's 4 sections, A, B, C, and then D. So let's hear this in context. I know I talked a lot, but I wanted to explain how simple it is. I think we producers think it has to be like, okay, intro, hook, verse 1, transition, hook 2, verse 2, transition, hook 3, post hook, post hook into a breakdown, into hook, the last 2 hooks into an outro. It's like, it can be that formulaic, but if you don't know like how to make the music for each section, it won't matter if I tell you how to do sections, because you guys won't understand the underlying meta for each section. So hopefully you understand those sections. It comes down to the top line, the harmony, the contrast layer, and the rhythm section. If you can't get those right, you can't reorganize stuff. There's nothing to reorganize. So let's hear this track all the way through so you guys can feel what I'm talking about. So hopefully this will prevent you guys from thinking you need 1,000 drum change ups. We use the same drum loop over and over again. And it comes down to those 4 components for people who skipped ahead. It's a top line, you have the harmony section, the contrast layer, and the rhythm section. Okay, so those are the 4 components. In order to make all these sections, you have to either change one of those things in those buckets or remove 1 or 2 of those buckets to create contrast in your songwriting. So that's what it comes down to. Thank you for watching. It's Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. If you guys want to take this further, look at Beat Magic. That's our course that focuses specifically on beat production. Just go to BusyWorksBeats.com/beatmagic. I'll leave a link below. Peace out, guys.